This is just a quick section in response to a recent question. Can you record onto the left and right sides of a stereo track separately? In other words, can you utilize the full 24 or 32 tracks on these machines for individual mono recordings? Well, the immediate answer is no, you cannot record like this. And if you try recording only to the left side of a stereo track, you'll find the right side is erased. And this can be disappointing if you've not done your research properly before buying these machines, especially on the DP32, where the stereo tracks can be configured as monos. And only then finding out that a converted stereo track becomes one mono and not two. So you end up with 20 recordable mono tracks and not 32, as you may have hoped. Now, the number of track faders on the machine should have been a clue. There are only 20 on this one, but as some machines arrange their faders in switchable banks, you could be forgiven for thinking otherwise. But there is a way of getting mono recordings, unrelated or otherwise, onto the two sides of a stereo track. And this may be of limited use, as they'd still have to be played back as a pair, and they'd share the common fader and the EQ controls. But you could play or mix them one at a time by using the balance control. Or maybe you just use it to park mono recordings temporarily if you're running out of tracks. Either way, it can be done. And maybe more usefully, the two mono tracks do not have to be unrelated. If they are already a left and right pair, say from a bounce operation, which we'll cover later, or from a previous import, you can still use this trick to convert them to a proper stereo track. And this can be easier and quicker than panning them and bouncing them back to a stereo track. And you don't need a computer. You can do it all within the machine. You just use the export and import functions. And these are normally used for transferring files in and out of the machine via this audio depot folder. But there's nothing stopping you re-importing the same files you've just exported. So how is this useful? Well, to recap from an earlier video, you may remember that you can export any of the 24 or 32 tracks for a song. And stereo tracks, like 9 and 10, show their left and right sides as separate tracks. So you can export the left only, or the right only, or both. But whatever you choose, each exported file is in mono format. If you look at the import function, it can handle both mono and stereo files. If it's a stereo file, it means it can only have come from outside. But when you import it, the destination choices are, an example, stereo file. The choices are pairs of mono tracks or stereo tracks. If it's a mono file, like this one, you can import to any of the 32 or 24 tracks that are on the machine. And this means you can import them to the left and right sides of a stereo pair. So if you're armed with this information, you can now use export and import to shunt files around. Just export the tracks and then import the files to different tracks. So to address the original question, you import mono files into a stereo track one side at a time. And unlike recording, one side does not get erased when you import the other side. Now, just one thing to watch, the import process always deletes the file from the audio depot folder when it's finished. So don't be alarmed if you want to import it somewhere else. You just re-export it from where you just imported it. No harm done. Okay, let's put it to the test. Look at timeline, nothing in any tracks. Back to audio depot. There's two files here, both mono. We'll import the first one, to track 13, which is the left-hand side of this stereo pair. Now notice the file we just imported has now disappeared from the audio depot folder. We'll now import the second one to track 14. There it is. Back to timeline, and you can see 13 and 14 have data on them. So let's play them. Now they're both being played together, so I'll turn the balance control for 13. If I go fully left, that means track 14 will be turned down and 13 will be turned up. Go the other way. So it was an interesting mix of Mike Oldfield and Pink Floyd there. Okay, that's it for this one. Just some food for thought, and I hope it helped, and thanks for watching.